Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Dark Art Society podcast. I'm your host, Chet Zar. And today I got a really great interview. Really, all the interviews are good on this show, I have to say. Um, that I ever 95% of them, I feel like, wow, that was a great interview. So maybe it won't hold much water, me saying this, but this was really a great interview. This is with Samuel Araya, and he's a great artist. I've been a fan of his for years. I own one of his originals, which is the called the Magician. It's the image for the promo card file thing. So yeah, we had a great conversation, super fun, and lots of interesting stuff we talked about. He also wanted me to mention that the dark art community on Twitter is great, because he said he forgot to mention that, and he wanted to give a shout out to the dark art community on Twitter, and I can confirm that. They are great. There's really a great community on Twitter of dark artists. That's like not a few from the Dark Art Society and Facebook and all that, but it's mostly new people, so it's really cool. Anyway, we had a great conversation, and I will be playing that to you in a moment. What's going on? I'm scatterbrained. I've just got too much to do, and I'm trying to maintain my schedule, my early sleep schedule, and getting up early, and I've been doing it, but it's a bitch because I just can't get as much work done. So it's really hard. For some reason, it seems like a lot of things are happening at once, and so I'm having some trouble with that. It's kind of stressful, but working my way through it. It's nothing new, really. Started shipping dystopia books out that people ordered on the website, because a little less than half the people on Patreon have not contacted me with their new shipping addresses. So, or did I say Kickstarter? Yeah, Kickstarter. So I have to go and hit them up one by one. I've mentioned it before. You know how it is, just a pain in the ass. But that's getting done. All the Ouija boards I created for the Kickstarter are boxed up and ready to ship, so that's good. Next are the little painted busts I'm almost done with. But I've also got these tool posters I got to do, and I got to start painting on the zombie death bots for my show in October. So I've got a busy year, but like I said, nothing's changed. Then I got commissions on top of that. Nothing's changed. Anyway, I'm dealing with it. This is the last day of the month, so we will be doing a drawing. I guess we'll do it next episode. We'll do the drawing to see who gets a free skull from the Skull Shoppe. You'd hear it if you're not watching. It's the jaw. Skull Shoppe, SkullShoppe. They make amazing skulls, and Kyle over there is awesome. He runs the place. He owns the place. He created the place, and he's going to give away a free skull for everybody who's in the Patreon at the $5 level. So I will contact him after this, because I wasn't really prepared to do that. So next episode, we will announce the name of the winner, and you'll get a free skull. Everybody in the $5 tier. And if you want to join, you can go to patreon.com/darkartsociety and join at the $1 level if you just want to support. If you want to get in the running to get a free skull from the Skull Shoppe, join at the $5 level. I think that's all. This interview is great. So I don't really have anything that comes to mind interesting that's going on but the interview is excellent. So let's just I'll stop and then we'll get on with the interview because it's so good. All right. I hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Hey, Sam, what's up?
What up, Chet? Here in beautiful Asunción, Paraguay, on an overcast day, enjoying the first day of our very timid autumn, I guess.
Oh, okay. So you're in Paraguay?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I saw that you were in South America, and I was like, I wonder where in South America.
Right in the center.
Cool. So let's get this out of the way because we were talking before the show, and Sam asked me what my synesthesia was for his name, and I said, "Oh, it's a really strong one." I have different tiers. I have really strong ones that are just have been there as long as I can remember, probably 5 years old, and they're just instant and they're super strong. And then I have like a second tier that's like definitely I have a flavor for these words, but they're not quite as strong and I have to think about them a little bit. And then I have like a third tier that's sort of like on the edge. And then I have the fourth tier, which is they don't have flavors, but Samuel tastes like a bologna sandwich with mustard on white bread. It's very specific.
Oh my God, man. That's like some weird serendipity right there, because bologna sandwich were like my childhood.
Oh yeah. That's mine too. And that was that the synesthesia thing has definitely it's all associated with these things I was eating when I was a little kid, like in the 70s, like all this junk food and bologna sandwiches and grilled cheese sandwiches and just stuff I used to eat when I was a kid. So now
Okay. Out of curiosity, if there's any, you don't need to say the word, of course, but there's any word that gives you like a disgusting sensation, like the opposite?
There's some for sure. I don't mention those very often.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to insult people.
Yeah, just keep it secret, but I just want to know.
Yeah, I'll tell you after. There's a few though that are like, the taste of bile, the smell of like piss.
Wow, that would be so. What a horrible way to go, man. Chet Zar told me that your name.
There's one really strong one that smells like dog breath. So I'm always worried that name is going to come up and they're going to ask me. So anyway, so now bologna sandwich with mustard. Only mustard. Yep. That's the trick. So how's everything going? Everything's going well with you? What's up? What are you doing?
Oh man, everything's doing great right now. I've been going out of a super artistic block phase with all the bells and whistles, depression and stuff.
Oh no, really?
Yeah. It started early this year.
Wow,
I've been going to therapy and getting better.
Oh, good.
And another thing that really got me pumped up and wanting to paint has been these new artificial intelligence tools that have been developing of lately.
Yeah, like they're crazy.
It's weird because I usually get like I usually get on the pessimist side of things, or the doomsayer things, like, oh my God, this thing will take our jobs and we will become obsolete because artificial intelligence has now developed to the point that we can mimic somebody's art style. But when I saw that the stuff that was being created, it was like, oh my God, this is it. This is the stuff that really going to push all my creativity to new levels. And it is, man. It has been like insane. I've been telling my friends, all my friends are big World of Warcraft players and all MMO stuff. I'm telling you, dude, this stuff is more addictive. Like
Yeah.
I bought a subscription, like the top tier subscription, as soon as I could,
For which
because it
one?
was just Mid Journey.
Oh, so you can buy the subscription now?
If you are a beta tester, are you at Mid Journey?
I got in the Discord to try it
Yeah.
out, and it seems
Mhm.
like they only let you try it a few times or something. Because I
Yeah,
tried doing it
exactly.
again, and then it wouldn't do it. So I'm assuming, but I don't even know how you would pay for it. I was thinking about doing it. It's just like, oh, thank you. Sorry, I was just getting a water. I forgot to get a water. Thank you. Um,
Sure.
uh, but I don't have time to mess with it is the problem right now. So it's like
Yeah.
I might as well just wait. But man, I see the potential for some of the stuff. A lot of it. The issue I have with a lot of the AI stuff is it's starting to look all the same.
Yes,
Some
totally.
of it, but there are some pieces I just saw yesterday. I think I retweeted it. It was I forget the guy's name on Twitter, but
Necro.
oh no, it wasn't Necro. His stuff's mind blowing too. He's doing it right. Let me see. Let me just see if it comes if it's I think it was Dark Philosophy or Dark Philosophy
Hmm.
uh at Donald L. McCart one. Oh, and it's like, oh my God, it's so amazing. I mean, these images he created with AI are like it to me, it's so inspiring. It doesn't feel like it gives me ideas rather than like, oh no, it's going to take over my job. It's like, no, this is like an inspiration machine and a way to generate ideas. And the way the way I'm interested in potentially using it is kind of, I guess, the way Dehiscence, I can never pronounce her name right, but the interview I just did on I think it was last week's or 2 weeks ago,
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that.
the way that she uses it where she'll take get an idea going and then keep getting new iterations of it and then adjusting it in Photoshop. And I could see using it to like generate basic composition ideas and then chopping it up the way Necro does and putting them together and just creating your own work. And then even since I'm primarily an oil painter, I could see painting those things, using that as reference to paint. That would be amazing, like a cool new tool.
Yeah, yeah. I've been using it like I work primarily with photography in my digital work,
Hmm.
and what I do, I find inspiration, in just paint blobs and stains. Like I will be
Right.
with my phone taking photos of weird weird mold growing up on the side
Right.
of the street because the shape. I would find that shape inspiring, and I would feel that shape with things. Then after
Right.
that, so I use it that way. And another thing that really occurred me was also this, like, it's a scary idea, the idea that you're going to be replaced by a computer. But then I said, wait a moment, this stuff produces like photorealistic quality. What if I just paint that in oils and in acrylic or whatever,
Right.
and then I create an original piece?
Right.
Then I will be stealing from the
Yeah.
from the
Right.
man. Yeah, and I've been doing that. Give me a second, I'm going to show you.
Oh,
I
cool.
think I have it right here. Damn it.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Damn it. Well,
No,
you'll have to post it on.
it's here. It's here. It's here. Oh yeah. There you go. So
Oh, that's cool.
I'm going to post this one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the basis of the image it's an acrylic painting was done in Mid Journey.
Oh my God, that's so cool. See, that's the idea I wanted to do. But I could see like uh so many artists. I mean, it's just the potential's huge. It's scary, I think, right now at first because everyone just immediately thinks, oh, there goes the way I make a living. But
Yeah, exactly.
but I feel like it's pushing everything forward. It's like it's like crypto or blockchain in that it's a disruptive technology. So it's gonna like I think cause a big shift forward. It's gonna force everybody to kind of grow and change and come up with new ideas. And it's and that's what it's all about, really. I think that just
Yeah.
the potential is so much bigger than it's going to take my job over. It's it's like, we're creative. AI is creative based on everything that's been created, and it's like we as human beings can generate new wherever ideas come from in human beings. It's like we can come up with ideas to either get ahead of it or use it, really, as like
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
tool.
Besides, at the end of the day, everything you produce through that is filtered through your own human experience and
Yeah.
your own taste
Right.
and your own knowledge.
Right.
So that's a big thing that everybody kind of forgets. Everybody kind
Mm-hmm.
of sees like the doom and gloom of the whole thing instead of the potential of it.
Right. It's kind of like, in a way, it's sort of like a director of a film. They
Yeah.
kind of get credit for making this movie, but they wouldn't be able to do it without everybody involved. And a lot of people, like directors will be like, oh, their movies are so beautiful. It's like, yeah, well, that's because the director picked this amazing cinematographer and this amazing art director and this amazing effects person. And and so it's kind of like you become the art director in a way, and you're hiring this AI to create whatever for you. And then what you do with it and what you think is good is, I just think I think I'm excited about it. And I think it's great that it's giving like people that have never been able to create art before for a number of reasons, giving them an opportunity to be creative,
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that the tools that we have today is like no other period in
I
history
know.
ever.
It's so crazy. Did you see that post I did? Did you find that one on my?
Yeah. I
Isn't
found
that
it.
stuff? I mean, like, look at the one. Look at the third one. It's like, what even is that? It's like a machine with like a face at the top, and oh, it's so cool and creepy. It's got like a Joel Peter Whitkin vibe to it, sort of, but it's like, oh my, I just think it's so cool. And
Yeah,
it's
it is.
if I generated that, I would be like totally taking that into Photoshop, chopping it up, doing all kinds of stuff with it, and maybe painting it or something, or animating it 2D. I don't know. It's just super cool. Super cool. So for people who you're one of those artists, I think a lot of people have seen and maybe not realized it, because you've done so much. You've done a ton of commercial work. I know that I own your piece. That's one of your most famous pieces, called The Magician, that I know a lot of people, everyone my artist friends I've shown that to is like, oh, I know that piece. I know that piece. It's like kind of a famous piece. And I scored that thing. It's hanging up it's hanging up in the dining room. So I don't know, tell us about what you do for people who aren't aware, because I think, like I said, you do a lot more than people realize, maybe.
Okay, well, I started working on the tabletop industry like 10 years ago, something like that, 20 years ago. I can't remember.
What industry?
The tabletop, like role-playing games.
Okay, so like Magic the Gathering and all
no,
that.
I just got into Magic the Gathering like
but that type of stuff.
Yeah, that type of stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Mostly role-playing games, which they pay like shit.
But really?
I was I was living here in South America, and oh my god, I got the chance to be Polish and get a decent wage. So I managed to make a living out of that.
Were you doing it remotely all along?
Yeah,
like the whole time.
all along.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
You're
and it was also funny because it was one of those industries where it wasn't so much about going to the place and meeting the art director and having connections, because I couldn't do that. I couldn't afford that.
Yeah, right.
Until much later in my life. So I emailed a couple guys, and 24 hours later, I had like my first gig.
Really? After just emailing him with your stuff?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But you know, with the internet, I had the chance to actually read what people would do to maximize their chances of
Oh,
getting hired
oh, that's
instead of
smart.
just shooting in the dark.
Right.
Um, After a while, I always wanted to be an artist, an editorial artist, in the sense not so much editorial in magazine, but much more in books, because I love books.
Mm-hmm.
Much of all my influences come from literature,
Mm.
Especially the weird kind.
Mm.
I got very early into Clive Barker, even before I got into Stephen King.
Oh
Just to give
yeah.
you an idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I got into Clive Barker. Like I got the import books from the UK, the Books of Blood, before he
Oh,
blew
cool.
up in the US, because I just happened to be at a convention and some guy recommended him. And nobody knew
Oh,
Clive
yeah.
Barker. And I got these books. I got the English edition. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, the
So
Books
good.
of Blood are so good,
So
man. They're
good. So
like
good.
game-changing stuff.
Totally.
And I always wanted to illustrate that, and I've been doing that for a couple of years now, and also been doing gallery shows.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I had to do for my artistic sanity, and much to my marketing detriment, was this idea that I don't like having just one style. I don't like just specializing in doing
Yeah.
one thing.
Right.
I like to try everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a bit dispersed in that aspect, in the terms of like I've been painting with Photoshop for a long time now, but I just want to try new stuff. I've been learning ZBrush with David Ego right now.
Oh, right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And one of the things that I try again is that having that diversity of style, I feel like if I paint truly what I want in the terms of what my experience or intuition dictates, people will see the similarities regardless of the medium or the style.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long shot in the dark, I admit it. Not the best marketing decision, because it's always, better if you have a series, a recognizable style, and people can say immediately that's a Samuel Araya, Chet Zar piece, right? But I like having fun, man.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta ultimately go with your heart. You got to go with where your passion is more than anything. Even sometimes you got to do things out of the ordinary, just because you're so passionate about doing that. You know what I mean? It's like some things, like for me, it made sense to do that, because that's kind of what I was interested in anyway. It's like and it was more, I don't know, I just felt like okay about focusing on one style. Maybe because I had been doing effects for so long before that. It was more like, okay, I want to try and do this, and but I think if that's important to you, you should do it, and it's worked out. Obviously you're doing all right, so
yeah, that's perfectly fine. I mean, one of the big things that you have to kind of deal with when you become a creator is that everybody is going to tell you that there are right and wrong ways to create,
right?
Which isn't. We create in such different ways, especially starting early on in the fantasy sci-fi art community. There were like very strong opinions about what was right and what was wrong, and there's CLAs, especially in the concept art world and all that.
Oh
yeah. And well, the same happens in the finer world, I guess.
Yeah. Anything that's a system will get like that, I think.
Exactly. But
once
at the
there's
same
enough
time,
people doing it.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got people like Bill Sienkiewicz and Dave McKean, who were innovators and who did stuff that was really ahead of the curve. And the only way we move forward is with having these voices of transgressions, if you like to call them.
Right.
So, and that's very important for me.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's worked for you. So, you gotta, I really believe that if you sort of follow what you're most passionate about, what that becomes your guiding light.
Mhm.
You know, the thing that seems like the coolest thing you could do, just do that, and that will like lead you, even if it's outside of what people are telling you to do. It's just like painting. I mean, as much as I've got like a style that I've done, at the time when I started, it's like there was nobody, I didn't see anybody really doing monster portraits like that. So there was like
Mhm.
that, just doing that itself was stupid. Or it's like, or not like, you know, probably wouldn't get a lot of positive reinforcement from other artists. Like, why are you doing that? That's not going to work. But you know, that's what I was passionate about. So I just followed it, and it ended up working out. So I think that's the way to go. Uh, so your English is amazing.
Thank
First
you.
thing, how like you're extremely, you know, articulate, and how do you have, how is your English so good? Like, what's the deal with the English down in Paraguay?
Well, uh, at first, like my mother and father really wanted to invest in our education when we, like our family was always modest, but at
Hmm.
some point we hit that sweet spot in middle class, and they were like, say, okay, we're going to invest in the education of our children, thankfully.
Hmm.
And they decided to build a library, for example, even if they didn't read,
Hmm.
and also throw us into a school that teach English. It was again a very modest English, and I had a really hard time with it. I really hated it.
Oh, really?
Even the teacher will tell my parents, like, you know, he really struggles with it, but it's he's doing all right. It's doing all right. Then everything kind of went to hell, and we went back to that modest situation. We forgot about English about that. But my father decided to invest in a personal computer, and with the personal computer came some video games, those text adventures,
Oh,
and
okay.
then I was like, oh my god, I gotta learn English.
So you just needed a reason.
Yeah, exactly. I just needed something to realize my human potential, man.
So
There was a
uh
very good game that was called Ultima that I really loved back in the day.
but you like to read too, right? I think I was
Yeah,
reading an interview with you, and you were talking about you really like to read, which is probably helpful if there's certain books that are only in English, maybe.
yeah. Especially with weird fiction
Right.
and fantasy. Right now, things are more open thanks to Game of Thrones or whatever, and everything else.
Right.
Right then, it was like, I don't remember. I think it was Clive Barker that I went to a bookstore here in Paraguay and asked, do you have anything by Clive Barker? Oh, it was not Interview with Vampire, it was Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice. They told me, no, sir, we don't sell books on the occult here.
Oh,
And
no.
it's just to give you an idea of what sort of place was Paraguay a couple of years ago. Now
Right.
everything is it's more open,
Oh, really?
thankfully. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it like is what's the dominant religious culture? Is it like
Oh,
Catholic or
Christian,
Christian?
Catholic Christian, evangelical is also getting really strong here. Like
Yeah.
we had this satanic panic 10 years later.
Mm.
So instead of hitting me when I was a kid, it just hit me when I was starting being a teenager, listening to heavy metal, death metal, and playing Dungeons and Dragons just in time.
Just in time.
Yeah, when everything in the first world moved forward, I was like,
Yeah.
they threw that monkey wrench into my geeky plans.
Oh man. So uh you know, I did a little bit of research on you because I mean we've known each other online for a long time, but
Oh
you know,
yeah.
we haven't really talked or anything that much, just messages back and forth and stuff like that. Um, but I didn't really know your background, but you were like you were drawing since you were little, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like everyone else. At some point, I actually, because I love reading so much, I thought I'm never going to get good at drawing, so
Huh.
I'm going to become a writer. That probably is easier.
Oh man. I don't know about that.
Yeah, thankfully I was wrong.
That's so funny though. That I was, I don't really talk about it that much, but I was
Mhm.
like a huge reader when I was a kid, and I don't read that much anymore because I don't have the time. And it's one of the things I don't like about my life now is not having the time to read. One of the few things. I got a pretty great life, but I don't have time to read like I used to. But I, my whole probably, I don't know, early teens, all throughout up until my early, my 20s when I started a family, I read a lot and I was super
Mhm.
into writing. Um, Big Clive Barker fan, big Stephen King fan, Lovecraft, ghost short story, like all the kind of weird stuff, but a lot of like spirituality books and stuff like that. But man, I love to read. And I have always secretly wanted to be a writer. And I'm just not very good at writing. But I did one time, I did write when I was a teenager, I think in high school. I
Mhm.
made myself write a short story. And it was like I could tell it was I can't I have it somewhere. I wish I could because I want to read it because at the time I was like I felt satisfied like you know if I pursued this and I kept practicing, I think I could probably do this. And that was kind of enough for me. And I was like, and that was it. It's like I just had to do it once. And I wrote this short story that was like it was just like about a guy getting ready for a date and how excited he was. And then at the twist at the end is he makes some creepy remark and pulls out this his little case with a straight razor. And then you realize he's like excited because he's gonna kill the girl.
Okay, okay.
So it was kind of like low hanging fruit, but at the same time, it was like just simple. And I thought like I wrote it pretty well. And I'm not even like a serial killer guy. It was just like that's what came out when I wrote it. But I did try like one time I tried to write a comic, which is another thing I want to do at some point. Um,
Mhm.
because I got put in the dumb math class because my math grades were bad, and so I had like I'd finish my assignments in 10 minutes because they were so easy. And then it was like a 2 hour class. It was two periods together. So the rest of the time I would spend trying to write this comic book until they figured out that didn't belong in that class. And then they made me go to a normal one. And then I was back to getting shitty grades in math. But so I definitely have that feeling for writing like you do as well. And the kind of the desire or the respect for it or whatever.
We should get back to it, man.
I know. I still think about like a lot of the things I want to do in the future are need writing. So, but like if I do like I want to do a dystopia comic series for sure. And I'd love to do like a Love, Death and Robots. Have you seen Love, Death and Robots yet
Of
on Net?
course, I could totally see you doing that with the
Oh,
dystopian universe.
that's how it's funny because my friend Josh Breckenridge, everybody was telling me, but he kept telling me, you got to watch this, you got to watch this. And I just kept putting it off because you have to pay attention because I usually watch when I'm painting, and that's why I go to documentaries because you can listen. But I watched it and I was like, oh my god, I'm late to the party because I only watched it like a few months ago, and it's like so amazing. I can't even believe it. It's so good. And prior to that, I was like, okay, would dystopia be a live action thing? Because I've got fantasies about it being a movie or a TV series. Would it be live action or would it be CG? Or animated or something. And then since seeing Love, Death and Robots, I'm like, CG. I would want it to be CG because of what you can do now, and
Mhm.
you could keep it in the style of the paintings.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
whereas if you're doing prosthetics on people, it's like you have all these limitations.
yeah.
So
You have to adjust proportions as well. Yeah.
right. So I am super into that idea now. But again, that all requires writing. Um, so I don't know. And I'm kind of curious to take to spend some time doing that when I get some time. But Mike Carell's a great writer too, so it's like he'll always help. He wrote the text for the dystopia book and stuff. He's a really amazing writer. He's been writing his whole life.
Cool.
Mm,
Yeah, and with every craft, it's just a question of
I
practice.
know.
Uh, the older you get, there's like this. and especially if I see something that will happen to me, is like I would get decent or good at Photoshop, painting in Photoshop, digital painting, and then I will try a different medium. I will get frustrated because
you can't just
oh
do
my
it right
God,
away.
yeah. But you're stepping out of the. I have to remind me, and I do this quite often to remind me that I'm outside my comfort zone. This is a
Right.
place. This is a danger zone. This is a danger zone where good stuff happens.
Right.
And I think that's something that everyone should do if they have any interest in any creative endeavor. So go for it, man. Go.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's so much I want to ask you about. Again, we, you're another one of these artists that's like, you've done some NFTs, right?
Oh yeah,
that's the thing.
Forbidden word.
Yeah. we're not hiding from that fact.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just wrong. but you're another one of those artists that I was like, oh, that's where he's been aside from the commercial projects.
Yeah.
He's been doing NFTs.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't say it on normal social media because everyone gets down your throat. So you just like, don't say anything. And then you go to Twitter where everyone's cool with it. And then you talk about it there. But how's your experience been with it?
It has been a mixed bag. Like the thing is that one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to do NFTs was the fact that coming from a society that's at least 10 years behind in terms of everything, I've been always concerned with the way that digital art has been presented, and the fact that you can authenticate digital art. It was a huge step in terms of advocating for what's the worth of digital art. The second thing was that with the pandemic, I had to drop every show. Like I'm doing this year for the first time in a long time. I'm doing an international show at the Dark Art Emporium.
Oh, great. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Love those guys.
Yeah, Jeremy is an awesome dude.
Yeah. Both the Jeremys.
Yeah,
there's two Jeremys. They're both
there's two Jeremys. I just realized that like a couple of days ago when wait. Yeah.
One of them's cool. One's a total asshole. No, they're both.
Let's just not say who is who, right?
No. They're both totally cool. Both Jeremys are awesome. I love them both.
Yeah, with the pandemic, everything went to hell in terms of shipping, to the point that I had to say no to even virtual shows because shipping to a different country was just so insanely expensive.
Oh man, yeah, it's still expensive.
But like it was like, it was actually quite depressing because oh my God, I'm finally in the point where people are asking me to inviting me to these shows, and I can't do it unless I want to be poor.
Right. Yeah, you can't afford to do it.
Yeah. The NFTs came. They came with the controversy. I will be one of the first to admit that I was like, I was very hesitant because of the controversy, which we all know, right?
Yeah.
At some point, I just said, fuck it. And I know this isn't the very popular opinion, but I'm doing this for the money. Yeah, I have a long list of reasons why I think it's great and all that, but I'm doing this for the money.
Right.
And I had a decent success with it. I would say I have become the highly sought digital artist, but I made a few dollars, and it was decent for some time and interesting. Then the PFP craze came out.
Oh, so you were there before PFP craze?
Yeah, I was right at the time. I mean, I think that some of our friends got the Bored Ape thing for like $100. I don't remember how much was the minting price. So yeah, I was one of the first adopters or early adopters. And then the PFP craze, and they came all these projects, the whatever, the mechas, the bats, also used for the bats.
Right.
And I have to admit that that was kind of like, I think the naysayers, or at least the people who are critical of this space, got a couple things right regarding the quality of the art.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm fine. I'm fine if your art is whatever quality you want and you sell it for an immense price. Power to you.
Mm-hmm.
I just had like it just was one of those factors that kind of hit me when I was trying to deal with a lot of stuff. And so I decided to pause for a bit, and also that will give me a break from dealing with any negativity online, even though I have to say I have very few, because I'm a happy trigger guy when it comes to the black button. I don't think
Right.
yeah, I don't think anything productive will come from having an
Yeah,
online argument.
I agree.
Even I believe that having a dialogue and discussions and debate ideas is super important for society, but you're not paying me for doing that. So I abstain. I abstain from doing that online. In real life, no problem.
Yeah,
as long
yeah,
as you
yeah.
buy me a drink or something.
Right.
But online, I just say no. So I've been doing a couple pieces that were picked up by collectors, and they were very supportive, very nice stuff.
It's cool.
Yeah, I'm just trying to deal with my shit right now. But
Oh yeah, right.
I see myself coming back anytime now. Right now, I want to release like to the this year. I got it's my I turned 42.
Mm-hmm.
So I painted 42 images for a project. I want
Oh,
to release
cool.
that as a commemoration. They're oil paintings.
That's
So
cool.
I kind of want to get that out of the way. My therapist always tell me you must be able to multitask and do multiple stuff, throw stuff in
Yeah,
compartments.
Yep.
But I feel like I need to do just one thing.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. You're going to therapy. I mean, that's I've talked openly about the therapy in the 90s was like life changing for me. It completely saved my
Yeah.
life pretty much, I think.
And if you don't mind me saying, I find like my therapist at some point told me I would bring it up that every exercise that would give me in therapy would resemble to magical ritual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see. Yeah, no, go on.
Yeah. And I would jump like right after doing the exercise. This really worked for me because it reminds me of this thing and that thing when you do this. And she will go, that's very fine, but you're paying money to be here.
Yeah.
So
Let's focus on you. I don't care about learning.
Yeah. Let's focus on you. And maybe we can talk if we have spare time. You can talk to me about magic. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's like that's so much of the magical practice, like high magic. Really is about getting to know yourself and getting all the bullshit out, understanding the subconscious. It's very much like therapy. It's very much like psychology. Psychology is a big part of it. And so, the whole thing about following your true will, it's like you have to know what your true will is, and you can't know what your true will is if you don't really know yourself that well.
Exactly.
If you're doing all the subconscious stuff and you don't know why, that means you don't really know who you are. So there's a lot of techniques to get to do that. That's like people don't realize, that aren't into magic, that like so much of it is kind of stuff, even the guy I learned magic from, he's like therapy is a great tool in the magical process if you can afford to do that. Just because it's all about getting to know yourself and dealing with your traumas and stuff. So yeah, it's so funny, but I wasn't I hadn't really studied it back when I was in therapy, so I never made the connection. But now that you say it, it's like so obvious. It's like it really is very similar.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Especially with anxiety, let's just put it in a very hyperbolic way, like unmitigated fear of the uncertainty of the future,
Yeah,
and how you stepped towards it with a certain willingness. It really reminded me of some rituals where you are like for example, one of the very early rituals that I read, that when I started learning about magic, and I said, okay, that makes sense, even if anything of these supernatural forces doesn't exist.
right.
One of the steps was standing with a sacred object in your hand in the middle of a barn, in the middle of nothing, an abandoned barn, right? And they would say that through the night, the devil would come and try to snatch that sacred object of power from you. And I just imagine myself in that situation, like being surrounded by the darkness, having this precious object, and with the sons of the night in the middle of nowhere, you would feel and see the devil, even if it didn't exist.
Right. Yeah.
Material
100%.
sense.
Yeah. Right.
And you will be fighting your own fears.
Everybody
yeah.
would be
everybody,
like anybody, the most brave person, the scientist.
Yeah.
It's so primal. It's like anybody would be afraid in that situation and freaked out and start imagining things, no matter how rational you are.
Okay. So I was giving you the full Paraguayan experience because we had a brief blackout.
How often does that happen?
Oh man. In summer, almost every day.
Really? God, have you ever had like files corrupted if your computer goes out?
Yeah, just once, and then I had to buy an UPS because I'm never doing that shit again.
Yeah. I always need to get one of those. I haven't had it happen to me, but I'm always worried about it.
Yeah, I had that happen at least once with a big job during the pandemic. And
oh no.
Yeah, I'm ordering a UPS right now because I can't live like this anymore. Yeah, that's the way things go here down in the heart of South America.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was telling you about the ritual here with holding the sacred object.
Right.
And the devil, and the fact that if you were alone at night, and even if you don't believe in the devil, you will have to face certain irrational fears,
right,
in you. And even if the world is devoid of any supernatural forces at all, or even if it's devoid of unknown forces, the fact that you are dealing with that experience,
right,
it provokes within you such a fundamental change. And that applies to everything in life. For me, was learning to draw, to learn that whole idea of the big potential that you have as a human being can be realized if you learn a new skill. For me, it was learning to draw. In therapy, it was the fact that I could go on in my life despite having constant rumination and invasive thoughts, and how you quickly, not quickly, but in some way you become that romanticized idea of being the master of your fate, for real, yo.
Right.
And how that it's of reaching that alchemical goal, or reaching your true will,
right,
it's that fundamental thing about magic, and it's a fundamental thing about you being a human being.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, Jung was like all into magic, at least studying it and stuff. And that's what people don't realize. It's like, it doesn't matter whether the spirits are real or not. It's like, it's not about that. It's not really about it. You that's why you can do it and not even believe in anything, and it still works. It's people don't get it. But I have to say, it's funny that we had that power outage today, because I did do a tarot poll this morning and I got defeat. the 5 of swords.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm like, that's pretty much in line. I've already kind of been arguing with a friend of mine this morning, and this computer crash. So it's about right.
It's the universe, man. It's the universe.
The energies are that way today.
Yeah, even with tarot, to me, I started reading tarot as well. I still cheat a lot and use the manual because I can't remember every symbol on it.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I realized that a lot of people that come to me and ask me for a tarot reading.
Oh, you do readings for people?
Yeah, only for close friends, because I can I can actually give some insight. If it's somebody in the street, I couldn't.
Right.
But it's like they would come with specific questions, and I would realize they already know the answer to the question. They just have something blocking their intuition or their will.
Right.
And that will be most of the time fear of failure, right?
Right.
Yeah. And what I tell them, this is what this card means. This could be this interpretation and all that. What do you think it is? I think I should take the chance.
Right.
Everybody, 100%. Every time I do a tarot reading, every person.
It's almost like they just want, they just want some kind of a little bit of someone in their corner, like, a little bit affirmation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I always tell them, I could tell you, you could believe whatever you want. You could believe that the power of the universe is manifesting through these thinly but beautiful printed pieces of paper,
right?
Which, in my humble opinion, it's kind of a bit too much,
right?
You could say that these beautiful, full of symbolic pieces of art that carry a lot of symbolic meaning, and you are looking for like another person's perspective,
right?
Through that meaning, you're processing what you believe and what you want and your desire through art,
right?
And whatever conclusions comes through that, regardless of the outcome, you gotta admit it's a very beautiful process.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean and it's funny because the magic and art are just like, they're so kind of the same thing, and but people don't regard it that way generally. But just like they say, art happens inside of the art is what happens inside of you. Like, even when you're looking at a piece of art, the art is what's happening inside of you, like how you're responding to that. These are the artwork that if an oil painting is just a piece of canvas, some wood, and some paint organized in a certain way. That's it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have intrinsic value. It's like the art experience is what's happening inside of you by experiencing it, seeing it, by creating it, whatever. And it's the same way with magic. It's like, the magic isn't like outside of you, this weird mystical thing that's outside of you that it's like, it's an inside thing. And all of these rituals and techniques are just ways of bringing that part of yourself to the surface in a way, and to be able to, you could do all kinds of different things with it. But you sent me that amazing essay, the best essay ever written about magic I've ever read, from Alan Moore. It's what's it called? Fossil
Angels.
Fossil Angels. So amazing. I couldn't believe it. It totally blew my mind.
Yeah, Alan Moore to me is like the biggest magical figure in this century in that term. And he was the person that actually, like, reading his stuff, it was like, this is a ticket. This is the way I really will approach magic.
Right.
Because in my limited experience, I never experienced anything supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
But reading what Alan Moore does, which is essentially art is magic, it's a manipulation of symbols to create
Right.
a change.
Mm-hmm.
That was when everything clicked, and I could read a grimoire, a book on ritual and high magic and lower magic, and I would understand how that work even from a purely rational and
Right.
even atheistic point of view.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. It's
Because yeah,
no, it's just, you know, I've had a ton of weird supernatural things happen to me in
yeah,
my
I saw
life.
your documentary. I saw your
Yeah.
documentary,
I've had
man.
so much weird shit
Good
happen
stuff.
to me that it's like, I don't know why. Some people it happens to, some people it doesn't, but magic isn't really about that. You know, it's
Yeah,
like in a way, it's sort of, I think the value for people that it happens to is that it just it makes it easier to accept that there's just things we don't understand about the world.
mm-hmm.
That's it. And that's okay. And I think that's an easier leap to get into something like spirituality or some kind of magic or whatever. Just being able to accept that that's the way life is. You don't know what the fuck's we don't know what the fuck's happening, really. It's like it's all like beyond human comprehension, you know, and you know, that's not a comfortable place to be for, I think, most people, because people like to feel like they've got some kind of control. They know what's going on. There are these laws, and if you follow these rules, scientific rules, and this and that, everything is fine, and you can be safe, and you don't have to really worry about anything. But the reality is that it's so immense and big and mysterious that it's scary as shit. But it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have to be. That's another good thing about magic.
Yeah, and like every field, it's they have their own mumbo jumbos and people
Mhm.
looking to make a quick buck and do
Right, right.
their own rug pull in the non NFT world and all that.
Yeah.
And
Scientific rug pull.
it's a scientific rug pull, magical rug pulls. There's a lot of those, man.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Got the grandkids just came over, so they're
yeah. No worries, man.
no, no. If you hear any kids talking, that's what it is.
It's all right. It's all right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was saying that it's that's what the art that was essay by Alan
Essay.
Moore
Yeah.
say, yeah, that we lost a lot of stuff in terms of the actual results of magic when we succumbed to this idea that we only used to satisfy our basic needs that
Right.
or material needs.
Right, right. And the same goes, it's like art. You could replace the word art for magic in
Yeah,
so many
yeah,
instances like that. You know, it's the same thing.
yeah. He actually said that
Right.
art and magic are the same thing,
Yeah.
and to me, it's exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot, like most of the people I know that are really into this atheist new wave of just Richard Dawkins, oh my god,
Right,
and all
right.
that stuff. Science is the only way. When they talk to me and we talk about magic and the way it works, they're actually, this is the first time I'm having a conversation about the occult that doesn't utterly disgust me or wants me to punch somebody in the face. and I thought that was remarkable in a sense that I could, for me as a magician, to be able to
Right.
communicate that, to have the capacity to not convince, but at least make sense to
Yeah.
somebody who wouldn't,
Right.
who would be 100% close to the idea of magic.
Right. That's the ultimate magic trick right there that you did.
Exactly.
That's what I like about the school, the online magic.me. The thing I took to really learn it was he presents it very much from like a not a very, I don't know, mystical way, you know, not a woo-woo way, more of like just kind of no
practical.
yeah, practical and no nonsense terms. But I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, you see, it's like there's fundamentalism in every belief, and it's like it's not the answer. Fundamentalist atheism is, they have a better, maybe they have a better record as far as, maybe not though. A lot of, I know that like there's been some mass atrocities from atheist societies, like
I have no idea.
Isn't like communist China, wasn't it super atheist when they,
oh man, I have to say that history
back in the
and politics especially are my forte when it comes to that.
Well, I'm just saying that it's like any form of fundamentalism is not good.
Every I will raise the stakes and say that fundamentalisms it's a one-way ticket to that. What's the word? To censorship, and with that censorship comes a whole baggage of crimes that it's the big no. Hang on, English is not my first language. I get a free pass at least one time.
Yes, definitely.
Fundamentalism is the biggest slippery slope I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it.
Yeah, that's well said. So anyway, we got into some magic, we got into some NFT talk. What techniques are you using for your illustration work? So you're like photographing and then just photoshopping textures and colors. I mean, are you doing much hand painting, or is it like more photo manipulation, or is it all of that mixed together? Because you got like, really, I mean, your work is so amazing. So
thank you so
cool.
much.
Yeah, so amazing. I was kind of, again, I was refreshing myself on everything, going through your website, and I was like, this is amazing.
Thank you.
I got, before you get into that though, I do have to say one thing. This is a weird thing I've noticed since getting into NFTs.
Oh, wow.
And I just want to make this point because I keep forgetting to bring it up. It's weird. As much as I've been into, I was into digital art back in the day, in the late 90s, I was into it. And I was totally passionate about it. And I feel like since blockchain and NFTs and all of this stuff, and digital art being put on the blockchain, it's the only game in town for digital artists, unless you're doing commercial work. But like for digital fine artists, that's what you got, which is great. It's great. It's amazing for digital artists, but it's like, it made me realize the prejudice I had against digital art, because now that the blockchain exists and I see people minting things, I'm feeling like I'm feeling better about digital art than I used to. Yeah. As like, and it's like, it's fucked up to have to say that, because it's like, it's kind of embarrassing that I would, because it's like some of my favorite artists, Cam De Leon, it was all digital work. But in the back of my mind, I was always like, oh, I wish you would paint that in oil. I wish it would be physical, like it needed that. And now, because of my experience with blockchain and NFTs, when I see digital art, I don't think that. I think it's perfect on its own. It's enough on its own. It doesn't need to be brought into the physical world in that way. And it's, aside from just being experienced and understanding the technology, I've also heard so many great points about digital art. I just was watching something last night about what? Okay. All right. It's okay. Sorry. What was,
you were watching something last night.
Right. Okay. I got all into this dude, the dude from Love, Death and Robots, Alberto
Mielgo.
Yeah. Those two episodes are like I think my favorite too, his 2 episodes. Unbelievable. So I went down the rabbit hole of his work, and I, started looking at interviews. And one of the things he talks about because he was doing NFTs too.
Yeah, yeah. He had a drove a maker's place, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And so he's talking about how the thing he loves about digital art is that his paintings are he's showing his paintings, and he's like, I've scratched them up. They're darker than they used to be. They're yellow, they get dirty. This digital piece is exactly the same as it was when I created it way back when. And it's like, it's more of a true, it won't change. It's more immutable in that way. And that was just something I never thought about. It's like, that's a unique feature of digital art, is that it won't change. It's like, once it's there, it's there. It's not going to age, depending on technology and how we store things and stuff. But anyway, overall point I wanted to make was that it's changed how I view digital art. As much as I've always loved it, I think in the back of my head, like artists like you that I really loved, I would always be like, I think subconsciously, like, they should do it physically. They should do it as an oil painting. And it's like, maybe because I watched Cam De Leon struggle so much to try and get in galleries. And I tried as a digital artist. People don't realize it, but I was doing digital stuff.
I know.
Before I was doing oil paintings, and it's like, I couldn't get any shows. Like, people weren't interested in showing paper prints of digital work. So maybe it's there. It's embedded in my mind too, from that experience as well. But like, now I don't feel that way about it. Now it's like, I'm able to see the artwork more clearly. You know what I mean? I'm able to see it for what it is, and see that it's like as legitimate as an oil painting, as legitimate as a physical sculpture, anything as legitimate as anything like that. So
I can tell you that feeling of being illegitimate, it's something I've been feeling. I feel every time I do a digital painting. I felt that. And I think that idea is deep rooted in our capitalistic society.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
That one of the things that I would I tell everybody is like, you must charge a lot for your art. Charge more, ask for more money. If somebody tells you, so this is the budget, ask for at least a slight increase.
Right.
Even if you are super anti-capitalist, or you are into whatever economic or governmental or political system, it's not about money. I'm going to quote the Joker, so be wary, everybody. It's about sending a message.
Right.
Because second joke quoter, we live in a society that only accepts, only measures the worth of something from their monetary value.
100%. It's so true.
And that's sadly, it's deeply ingrained within us.
Yeah.
And it might be, it's probably really wrong, right? But I feel like one of the most valuable contributions to society is art.
Right.
And art should be valued, and art should be worth whatever type of energy are we exchanging right now, be it money, be it time.
Right.
And NFTs came with that game-changing idea of giving an authentication or certification, whatever you want to call, a signature.
Right.
And I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I would really love to see this technology live to its full potential. And even if NFTs and crypto crashes and burn, I would really love somebody taking that same idea, the idea that something that doesn't necessarily exist in the physical world has a value, has a worth. And one of the things that, I said to myself that I was going to say anything about naysayers of the NFT or the digital art in any interviews, but now you You pushed me to a corner. So
Say it.
You manipulated me. That, like, one of the stupid, the most stupid arguments was this idea that putting a price to digital art was bad because digital art never was about this idea of scarcity. Right. It was about this idea that you could download the piece. And at the same time, that's kind of the point of all artists that are native to the space, that you can actually right click and save that picture and have it in your hard drive. And that image can be shared and everybody can experience it. It's not like, oh, I got this NFT, please delete that file from your hard drive.
Right, exactly.
And that was a big shocker for me, because I would go to the Discord and I would tell, hey, everybody, I'm fine, with selling an NFT, but there's a link right there to right click and save my image in high resolution. What the fuck is going on? And everybody was like, yeah, that's kind of the point, and blah, 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 blah. But a lot of my work gets pirated. Like my work gets pirated in what's this, Redbubble, whatever. Gets pirated in China, gets pirated everywhere.
Yep.
It gets even pirated locally, probably, I don't know. So what's the point? And again, the point was that the philosophy is that, yeah, you can have that image, but and somebody can even mint that image, right? But it's not worth anything because you didn't did it.
Right.
Because it doesn't point, the contract doesn't point to you, the artist.
Right.
And I thought, okay, this is weird, because we are living in this, we are having this ecosystem that, you want it or not, there's a lot of people that are in for the money, me included at one point.
Right.
Not exactly for the value of art, but at the same time, they're preaching this idea that is so deeply so deeply game changing in the way we are going to experience art, right? And we're going to sell and buy art. And I thought for a second, I would love that. I would love to, if I could get paid to meet my my needs and have the chance to eat sushi at least twice a week. I would I would have a guaranteed monthly income. I would gladly release like my images in high resolution, and everybody would be printing that and having them at their homes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel this. I've always felt that way about. It's like, I wish I was rich enough to where I could just give my art away and I didn't have to sell. That'd be fine with me,
And turns out that a lot of artists in this space were actually doing that.
And
it kind of blew my mind. So yeah, that's what I have to say regarding the whole NFT thing again.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, it's a, I just, I feel the same way too. I think about that. Like, what if crypto completely crashes? Because you just are constantly hearing about, especially from kind of mainstream media sources, the shocking headlines, crypto's got down, big crash, blah, blah, blah. And you think, well, and then you see like Luna just crashed the other day, and you see what can happen when something goes wrong.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah. Luckily I didn't own any, but but like you said, I think that the genie's out of the bottle. If, like you said, if some amazing thing happened and it all went down somehow, the idea is still out there. I don't think it's ever going to go back. As far as there's too many people, too many artists that are into it, and too many collectors that are into it, that just love it. It's like, I know there's a lot of scumbags and people just like don't care, and the art sucks, and they're just about making money completely. It's like stock trading. But it's fine. There's also, I've met some super passionate art collectors and people that want to support artists, and amazing. It's like Patreon. It's like there's people that just want to donate. It's like I never really look at the Patreons I support. I just do it to support because I can. And it's like there's a lot of
Yeah.
collectors like that have a ton of ETH because they invested early or whatever. And they like art or they love art and they want to support an artist who they think is doing good work. It's like, how is that wrong?
And I think that within I support like being critical of any space, even if I am part of it. I'm a big, I'm a huge critical person when it comes to the magic scene. I'm not speaking about Magic the Gathering. I'm speaking about grimoires and practice, and the occult. And the same applies to everything I do, like listen to black metal or doing NFTs. And I think that one of the biggest things that really got lost in this conversation was that the fact that what a mind-boggling idea that we could have a new way for artists to make a living doing what they love, regardless of the with a medium that was disqualified before,
right,
by a capitalistic idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you hate NFTs, you hate crypto, fine, no problem, bro. But how about we explore that idea? We don't. You hate it, fine. Let's explore that without crypto, without NFT. Let's do that.
Right.
And that's something that I've seen that in his absence, it's kind of puzzling to me.
Right.
That we totally forgot about that. And we went either we are going to concentrate all our efforts in criticizing NFTs. Right. Again, it's
right.
all right. You can hate them,
right?
But again, just consider that idea. No, because NFTs are evil. Okay, forget about NFT.
Right.
Take that idea, and it's something that really escape, because it's such a revolutionary step forward,
right,
for everybody. Again, even if you don't believe in Web3, in the metaverse, I count myself a big unbeliever of things until I see them.
Right.
But just think about it, man, for a second.
I know. There's, every once in a while, and I see it more and more now. And I apologize if people aren't into NFTs or listening to this, but honestly, it seems like maybe I'm promoting it because I'm in it now, but it's really not the case. To me, it's like the podcast has always been what's been going on with me, what's been going on in the artists I interview, what I'm excited about, what I'm interested in. That's the guidelines. And right now, I keep talking about it and bringing it up because I'm interested in it and I'm excited about it. And I think it's amazing. But one thing I see more and more of which I think is the correct assessment, which is people saying, I'm not into NFTs, but I'm not gonna give an artist a hard time for finally earning some money if they can do it. That's that's all we're asking. It's like, it's so wrong. It's like it's don't hate the player, hate the game. That's what it is. It's like, this is, especially for digital artists, it's so morally, I find it so morally wrong to get after any artists for artists finally able to make decent money, to give them guilt trips about it. It's wrong. It's morally wrong. And it pisses me off because it's like, artists have been shit on since the beginning of time. And now they're finally, there's this huge, the biggest opportunity probably in any of our lifetimes, and probably the biggest opportunity for artists in history, in art history. And you're going to shit on these artists who've been like, scraping all, doing projects they didn't want to do, scraping by, you know, people don't realize how hard it is to be an artist as a career. And, you know, so I don't know. I guess that's all I'll say.
I'm going to, I think that the only thing I'm going to add to that is feel free to go to my NFT collection and right click save everything you want.
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's such a great point you make, because it's like that space gives the opportunity for more people to enjoy it. It gives you the opportunity to give it away for free. It's like, it's crazy. I think, you know, the perception is changing though. People are realizing. I just love that I'm just, to me, it impressed me so much that it got me thinking about what collecting really is, what it means to collect, what gives something intrinsic value. I'd never really thought that much about it, honestly. And it was like, you know, it's nothing. It's a piece of wood with some oil paint on it. It doesn't, you know, there's nothing valuable about it other than if you think it's cool, or, you know, the time I spent to make it or whatever. It's like, it's interesting.
I own 5 of your pieces. I did just increase their value publicly.
Oh,
5 of your original just went down in value.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying, you know how it is.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
All art has all art. It's so obvious. It's less obvious maybe on a level where people are really skillful, but it's super obvious at the blue chip level, where people are putting like a piece of dog shit in a cardboard box and saying, or the banana on the wall, that just like the banana taped to the wall selling for $1 million is all you need to know about the intrinsic value of art. What paintings do you have in mind? Do you have studies?
I have at least 2 pencil sketches.
Oh, cool.
I got one finished painting that one of your and one study.
Oh,
in
cool.
Oils. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm looking at them right now. I don't want to go and grab them because that would be too much flexing. You know, we're talking about NFT and capitalist. We'll be flexing my Chet Zar collection.
I know. I should have got my the magician painting, put it up in the background. I didn't even think about it.
Totally. So the second question you ask, sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I was just gonna say the room it's in is red. I have one. There was one red room when we moved here, and it's like it's just perfect in that room. Anyway,
nice. Are you gonna tell me the story about I don't know, I could say in the podcast that you said that why you wanted that painting? You remember that?
No.
That you had a trip and you saw something similar?
Oh, that's right. Is that what? Wow, that's so funny because I forgot about that.
Okay.
No, I saw that. I saw that. I had it was a DMT thing, and I saw a triangle, and it had this eye, and it was like a big like a square column that was like snaking around, and it had the head of your guy was on top of it. It wasn't red, but it was like black and white, and it was kind of black and white stripes, and it was just like looking at me. It was like, and it was kind of like the eye of God or something. It just felt like this huge power, and I was kind of like, oh man, it's kind of scary because the feeling was so like, wow, it's so immense.
I believe Harlan Erlandson had a tale where he describes a creature like that in one of his books called The Dead Bear and Other Stories, because a friend would send me quotes from the book.
Oh, really?
And that was scary. Like, oh my God, this is like and I actually painted that piece inspired by H.R. Giger, which was a huge influence for me.
Me too, of course.
So yeah, you were asking about technique, and what I do in Photoshop. I collage stuff. I collage photography, my own photographies. I've been using stock photography lately. I've been trying to get away from the guilt of, oh my God, I'm using photography for other people. Whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's I get it.
Yeah, but it's I mean, it's there for free of use. There has no copyright restrictions.
Yeah, why
and one
not?
thing, there was another artist. I don't know if he would like to be described as a dark artist, but his work was dark and beautiful at the same time. Is Victor Cohen from New York City. He teaches at the School of Visual Arts, as I believe correctly.
I don't know.
His work is awesome, and he does a lot of an awesome illustrator and painter. And he said that I would go to markets, flea markets. I would get like a bag full of old photographs, and he would retouch them.
That's cool.
And as I was reading about necromancy, and not in any fancy grimoire, but rather in Dungeons and Dragons, I thought,
right.
Well, ain't that a beautiful metaphor for necromancy? If I grab those photos of people who were like forgotten,
giving them back, giving him life again,
giving them life again, bringing them back through painting, giving that energy of this of the same spell. And again, art is magic.
Yeah.
And what I do is I use a lot of archival photography that is historical archives that are free of use. One of them, I think it was the Library of Congress. Another one that I remember correctly was one museum. Oh, I don't remember. It was in Brooklyn or Boston that I wrote them, and it told me, if you do any piece of art, just put that you use a stock from the museum and give us a shout out publicly, and that's fine. And if you don't want to do that, even that's fine, because
that's cool.
Yeah, these are our what's the term when they are free of copyright?
Public domain.
Public domain, yeah, public domain images. And I just love historical photography, like the daguerreotypes, the tint.
Right. Yeah.
Types, all that stuff. Big Joel Peter Whitkin fan as well.
Yeah, he's amazing. So underrated too.
And that those aspects of art and magic, they appear in everything I do. Like I was reading about the manifestation of spirit, and this is something I really like to mention, the manifestation of spirits. And when doing a ritual, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to see a spirit. And then I wouldn't see anything. And people would say, well, you will see the shapes in the smoke of the incense or in the black mirror. And I thought, okay, what better black mirror than the monitor screen?
Yeah, what a cool idea.
What is, I can manifest something through that black canvas. And the same happens when I usually painting. I usually paint from dark to light, because this powerful idea of coming from darkness to light, that is even exploring alchemy from the philosopher's stone, that starts at the blackening of the materials.
Right.
And having that manifestation there, it just so cool. It's
totally
so
cool. It's so cool.
And people who might experience the art might not be conscious about it. That's fine. The important thing is that I feel what I feel
right
in that moment of creation, because that's my time. So one more point for art equals magic, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's that's 100%. I never thought about that. The black mirror and the the monitor is so cool.
No, to me it was okay.
Yeah, makes that it's so it makes perfect sense. I mean, when you think about like I think about how I create artwork, where I'm, I don't know how I'm doing it really. It's like I'm just kind of doing it. It's so weird. And I'm like, and you're trying to make something cool. It sounds really kind of lame, but that's how I feel. I want to make something that excites me, that energizes me, that I think is neat and cool, and I like it. And it's like, you start drawing shapes and you see the ones that you like and you just keep following them, and this image appears out of that. And it's like, how is that not different than conjuring a spirit?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, it's exact, there's a spirit. There's certainly in any of these characters, there's a spirit of, there's if you think about what the word spirit means, like an energy or a presence of some kind. It's like paintings do have a presence, whether you call that supernatural or not, or whether you just say it's got a presence because it catches your eye or whatever. But they have,
yeah, because you experience something through that painting. That's a presence,
right. That's a presence. So it's like, you know, again, art, you know, art and magic are the same thing. It's just, it's more like, I guess the problem with magic is understanding what it really is.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
and it's like we can understand what it is because through art, because art, there's not taboos, there's not the same kind of taboos around enjoying artwork, you know,
Mhm.
and having experience with art. It's like a mainstream okay thing to do. There's not taboos against it, but there's all these taboos against occultism and magic just because of culture, you know.
Yeah.
But as a way of understanding the occult, you could just kind of like, you know, think about art in a more uh intuitive way, I guess, maybe. And you just like kind of apply the same thing. And that, if you're interested in understanding magic or the occult, if you start thinking of those things in the same way, it will make sense. The guy I learned magic from was always saying kind of like artists take to magic way easier than regular people because they're already
Mm.
doing it. They just don't really
Yeah,
realize it, you know?
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was going to ask you about your process. If you visualize the image as it is and then you paint it, or you are scribbling and then find the image, because I
Uh,
found that
yeah.
there's a bit of a pushback in some certain art circles about this idea of not being able to visualize, that you find the stuff, as it kind
Mhm.
of that disqualifies your process, which I think is utterly dumb, but whatever.
I never heard that one before. Yeah, I'm disqualified then.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, I've had certain things I've imagined and then I've tried to paint them, but generally it's like I'm finding them. I'm finding them through this
Yeah,
through the doodling process.
it
Uh,
feels like in the translation you are adding and rethinking that which you imagine, right?
yeah. Even yeah, but sometimes I have no idea, and I
Yeah.
just start. It's like it's a way of thinking. Like doodling is almost like a way of imagining and thinking.
Hmm.
It's like a physical way to do it. It's like note taking in a weird way of your imagination or something. But I think that's, you know, that's just what's so mysterious and cool about the art making process is that, you know, how it's like you can't even explain where that comes from or where ideas come from, really. You
Hmm.
know, it's like I don't feel like I really know, or like I even have to know. It doesn't matter to me. It's just fun. I just like to do it, you know, and I know how to do it, so I just do it. It's that simple. I mean, how about you? Are you like, are you starting out with a, well, I'm sure for commercial works, you have to start out with kind of like a concept, but do you do the more intuitive stuff as well, where you just kind of like start messing around, or do you, yeah, because it seems like from the artists I've interviewed, it seems like those are the two ways that people create. Some people are
Yeah.
more oriented like me to like doodling and just finding it, and then other people are more about they think about it and imagine it and then figure out how to get that in as a piece of art, whether it's like taking pictures or, you know, and then they sketch it out because they have the idea they're trying to get across. So
Yeah, yeah. And
how
of,
are
yeah,
you?
yeah. And of course, there's something to be said about the commitment, of pushing through a piece through that, like shooting reference and then
I love doing
composing
that. Yeah.
everything and painting exactly as it is. Man,
Hmm.
that's a level of surgical precision I wish I
Yeah.
had.
Yeah,
I wish I had.
I enjoy that because it's
Yeah.
I definitely steered more in that direction for a long time, to where I was even these, you know, doing studies for everything. That's part of
Mhm.
like me planning the big painting out. These are just like steps, a stage before the painting. And so I'm trying to work everything out. I enjoy that. I like process. I enjoy process. I don't get really much out of looking at a final painting I did. I mean, it's
Mhm.
cool and rewarding, but I don't like look at paintings, my old paintings very often. It's just like the fun part was the process. That's what I really was into, and figuring out the puzzle, you know?
Yeah. For my personal pieces, I like surprises, but I know that art
Yeah.
directors don't like surprises.
Yeah.
So what
but
I
they're
do
missing
is,
out. They're missing out because
yeah,
they would be better if they gave you that freedom.
probably. But what I try to do is then have that intuitive part of the finding out part in the sketches. Like I will
Right.
do really loose sketches that will be just like a blob of ink on paper, and that's it. Then I would take them for a job. I would take them to Photoshop, depending on the client. Some clients I'm fine with just sending whatever you want. Others are more strict,
Mm-hmm.
or more are, or they are just or they just at least want to have an idea of what you want to show.
Right.
Right. So what I would usually do is like almost take it to a finish, because at least I would get that image out of my system. As time goes by and I get less time to take it to a finish, I just probably again invest more time in the doodling part.
Mm-hmm.
And I would take that to this idea of finding the pieces to extreme, to the point where I would be in the shower and there will be like this weird mark made of soap in the
Right.
glass of the shower. And I would stop everything, go grab my camera and take a photo of that, because okay, that's a beautiful shape. I gotta use that.
Right. Yeah.
And I gotta give credit to two great teachers I had. They are a couple, and you know them. One is Vanessa, the other is Ron Lemon.
Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah, they're great. Great.
They are awesome. And Vanessa works that way with her paintings.
Right.
And Ron is he's involved with a lot of people who come from the concept art scene, which is the part where are more like about this idea of everything
Right.
comes from your mind, but still he understands this process so well and has such an open mind. Both of them have such open minds,
Mm-hmm.
and having class with them was a life-changing experience.
Really?
I know that Vanessa doesn't like the idea of everything being life-changing, but
Where did
my
you?
participant.
Was it online? Was it online?
Yeah,
class?
they were teachers online, and I
Oh,
had
that's
to get
cool.
like a teaching, learning with them, and they were just like so good. And there was a point, like as I said to Vanessa, and I feel like teaching because I'm using photography, and that that was a that snowballed even into an article. Spectrum, the
Huh? Yeah.
annual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like even the author of Spectrum wrote an article about how there's no cheating in art,
Oh
and
wow.
and he talked about stuff like Frazetta used reference, even he denied it
Right.
with
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm so
Reference. Yeah. Reference is
yeah
crucial.
yeah. But it's funny because I knew a lot of classical fantasy illustrators were like adamant to this idea that you have to be the reference. You internalize it to the point that you can draw with a reference, and then you become an illustrator. Otherwise, you are trash, worthless trash. What? You speak to me? You dare to speak to me? Don't speak to me, your photography.
When I was a kid, I used to think that. When I was like a teenager, because
everybody used to think that.
You're dumb when you're a kid. But then but my dad always used reference, so it wasn't like I never even thought about it really. For me, it was like I felt like if I could do it out of my head, I would be better, And then then once I became an artist, it's like that's just not true. The best artists I know are using reference, and I don't use a lot of reference for my stuff, just because I'm, what I'm doing is so simple in a way. It's like these head and
Mhm.
shoulder portraits. I don't really need it, but when there's times when I need it because it's something out of my comfort zone, and I use it. If I was ever going to have to do anything with like perspective, I would
Yeah.
take photos for sure because I don't know
Oh yeah,
shit about
perspective.
perspective. I
The
would,
devil's work.
yeah, I've tried and failed at that. I know enough to know I don't know it, so I would take reference for sure. And
Yeah.
and with
Yeah.
with digital, it's like it just gives you so many more options, like using photography, and it's all good as far as I'm concerned.
Again, I would like to point out that I'm giving all these ideas that one has to be like challenged and make a stand against it. I would like to remark that it's more in a positive light to this idea that you had this opposition and you made a stand, and that's something I believe very important for any kind of artist
Mm-hmm.
that have to face the big devil. Look at
Right.
that. I'm coming full circle right
Yeah.
now. Talk about magic. The big devil in the barn, the big external voices that tell that you to give up that thing that to you is sacred and valuable and powerful.
Right.
And
Right.
then you decide to not give it back, man.
Right.
And there's a big power in that act, and I encourage everybody who's listening to this uh, to do that, and more importantly, I guess, to not feel alone in their struggle to uh, because you're doing things in a different way in art, right?
Right.
On the contrary, do it.
Yeah. It's better if you're doing it your own way. It's all about, everything's been done as good as it can be done in painting and sculpture. They already did it hundreds of years ago. They did it better than you'll ever do it. It's like, so what we have now is, it's not about doing it the very best it can be done. It's about doing it in the most authentic voice and the best that you can do with your authentic voice and expressing yourself as purely as possible. And we have all of these amazing artists to learn from that already did it as good as it can be done. We can learn technique and stuff from them. But, you know, what's as artists nowadays, that's what we have to offer to art history is pure expression and new ideas that are truly coming from ourselves, like our inner self. That's it. That's like, you're never gonna, I'm sorry, you're never gonna make a better marble sculpture than whatever his name is.
One of the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, right. No, I was thinking this one specific guy, but it doesn't matter. But it's like, it's already been done to as good as it can be done. You can maybe get that good, but it doesn't get any better at that level. So it's not about technique anymore. It's about expression.
Yes.
We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that again. It's already been done. If we want to push art history forward, then we have to just do new work and try and express ourselves as purely as possible and make amazing work that comes from us as individuals, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense because the capacity to draw, at least in a photorealistic way, it's within everyone of
Right.
us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you learn how to write, if you learn how to copy basic shapes, abstract shapes, you can learn how to draw, and you can learn how to be very good at drawing and painting.
Yeah.
But what you do with that is the thing that will set you, will make a difference. And that's something that in the moments I teach, I tell everybody, like, imagine everybody, the day of tomorrow, it becomes like the Matrix and you can download the Draw Super Good program in your head right now. What's going to make you different? It's going to be, your personal experience and the way you translate that and how honest you are. And it's funny because without being honest and vulnerable, without being open, there could not be true human communication. So there could be no art then.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what happens when you hang a piece of art. You put on what you feel there, and it's up to the world to judge. And it's scary, and wonderful at the same time. And it's like the first time you open up with a lover or a friend or whatever, like, you know.
Yeah, you run the risk of rejection.
Yeah, you run the risk of rejection, manipulation.
Yeah, right.
Any sort of a critical voice, but yet you do it. And you do it again and again and again and again. It may never get easier, but you keep doing it. And there's something to say about true will and the human spirit there that I'm sure a person with a better command of the English language would I encourage everyone to do that in the comments.
Yeah, man. Well, we're coming up on 2 hours, so we should, I guess, start wrapping it up. So sure. What do you have going on currently that's exciting? Is there any new, or you're coming out of this block, I guess, is the thing, that's the big thing for you. That's been a long block. That's a long block at the beginning of the year.
It's a long block, yeah. And I've been coming out of that. I'm coming out strong. I have a couple of pieces that I'm really excited to show. I'll be showing the person who, since I live in Paraguay, I have a person and a dear friend of mine who runs my web shop in the United States. And she's going to be receiving the 42 paintings as soon as she completes.
Oh, right.
She's moving out of state right now.
The 42 paintings, that's right.
Yeah. So I'm going to show those that were done like a year ago. Still, they feel like a turning point because it was a book commission for a role-playing game. It's in Sweden. They were super nice guys, and they were like, "Here's the text. Do whatever you want. Just give us a glimpse of what you have in mind first." That's cool. They were really cool about that, and I just took the 42 pieces and threaded them as personal work. And I was not hoping, but I thought that a couple at least would be rejected, but they didn't. So yay for my good friends, the role-playing game Morkborg, Johan, and Peel. Thank you for accepting everything. I got one translation of a book, which I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name of the book yet, but it has to do with vampires. Cool. And Joe Hill, the writer,
awesome,
did the foreword for that. It's coming in Germany anytime this year. It's going to be super cool again. What else? More projects. Hopefully, I will have again a piece or two. I believe. I just have to finish them. On the dark art Emporium. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one. The name of the show. It has a show that has to do with music and what it inspired for us. I'm looking to bring some of my favorite black metal tunes and death metal. Listen to that.
Cool.
And that's it. And meanwhile, you can follow me. You can go to my website at Araya Art. I know it's not easy to spell that in English, so I hope you can do that for me.
It's ARAYA ART, right?
Yeah. Okay. .com. And you can see all my socials there. You can go to my Twitter, my Instagram. Yeah, that's it, I guess.
You got any NFTs coming?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
The market's really slow right now. The market's kind of dead right now.
Yeah, but besides the market, I think I want to see if I would, I want to, I want to see how the thing evolves a bit, and I want to take it a bit slowly. I don't want to get again. I would be doing it for money,
Right.
so artistic from my part. But my heart right now, it's in I call it learning to paint again, because it has been a while since I painted. 3 months. It's a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've been excited about this idea of creating physical work.
Oh, cool.
And I hope to do at least a 3D piece in the future. Sculpting is something that fascinated me, and I'll be totally into sculpting. If we could find super sculpting on any material like that. In Paraguay, the only thing we have is like clay made of a mud, which is
Really?
it cracks like hell, man.
Oh man, yeah, you can't get a lot of stuff. I guess you can't get there, huh?
Yeah. And then I saw you guys using all this polymer cloth, fancy polymer clays and armatures, and I'm like, what the fuck I'm supposed to do with this load of mud I just got?
Yeah, that's a good. He can't get stuff from like the UK or something, or because I know they have a lot of that stuff there.
It's crazy expensive on the shipping, and again, this brings this idea of the NFTs being like life-saving for us here in South America. So probably before if I commit to do any NFTs, I probably do some deep dive into the space again, make sure that my heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
Or if I need money. Sorry for being honest, everybody. I love you all.
That's it's a two, it's both. The way I see it, for me, it's like I've said it before. It's the money, because we live in the society. The money is something that justifies me being able to do something I want to do anyway, but I can't afford to, because everything I do has to make money, because I live in California, I live in the United States, I live in the capitalist system, and that's how I have to. I don't have money just to sit on, so I have to earn money with whatever I do. So that's why I do studies. That's why I do paintings. I also want to do them. I want to, if I wasn't getting paid, I would still do them if I could afford to. But now that with NFTs, I can afford to do digital work and get back into it, which is something that I've just been missing for so long. It was so long that I forgot that I missed it, honestly.
Yeah, I remember you saying in your interviews that your first vision about art were about digital and animations.
Yeah.
And how you were going to display it, and how that changed.
So into it. Before I was painting, I was into trying to do that, But so that's, without the potential to make money, I couldn't afford to do it. So I probably wouldn't be doing it. And that's a bummer, because I want to do it. It's like so fun. Animating these things for me, it's just like super fun. And I just want to do more digital. I want to do like the kind of stuff you're doing too. I want to play around in that, just that format of Photoshop and using collage and stuff. I mean, it's funny because I've done that, but it was for designs for like for movies and stuff. It's
really,
I'll have to send you some pictures, or maybe I'll
please do
post them. But it's like, it would be like a painted character, or it would be a photograph of an actor, and then I adjust it, manipulate it to turn it into a creature, and then I would find a picture on the internet of a city street or some catacombs or something, and I'd put it in there, and then I'd do all kinds of textures. It's like that just made sense in that setting, because it's quick, it looks good, and you're helping the director visualize a scene or whatever. So I've done it and I really enjoyed it. I just have never been able to make it make sense financially to be able to do it as part of my fine art career, because I have to make money all the time, because this is the world we live in. So now I have all these getting back into 3D and animating sounds so much fun, and animating my paintings. It's just like super fun, super exciting. So I'm grateful for that technology.
Yeah, we're back at the laboratory like mad scientist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I used to pretend I was a mad scientist when I was a little kid.
Me too.
Did you really?
Well. Yeah.
And it was like, I'm surprised I'm not dead, because I used to go in the garage and I would mix up chemicals, whatever my dad had out in the garage, motor oil, bug
here,
spray, bug poison, rat poison.
I would go to the first aid kit as well and grab all the syrups and whatever,
right?
cough medicine, and at some point I decided, well, there's a lot of fire in these chemicals, so let's just throw a fire.
Bubble it and everything, or boil
everything. I almost burned the house. But yeah, fun stuff, man. Fun stuff.
That's so funny that you did that too. I guess it's in our blood.
Yeah, I tell you, it's all about magic and the will manifesting itself, I guess.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks for coming on. Your stuff's amazing. Love it. I'm a huge fan. I don't own a lot of art, and I own one of your pieces, so I'll let that speaks for itself. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, and had an amazing time talking with you, man. Super fun.
Likewise.
Yeah, thank you for making the time. And now you just have to say goodbye to the audience. So say goodbye, audience.
Goodbye, audience. I love you all, even if you hate me for doing NFTs.